So just checking you're recording. The amount of times I've sat down and recorded something, it's not recorded. This is 5 ways to make homeschool less stressful, or to homeschool without stress. I can't remember what it was called. I've just literally just looked. I think it's 5 ways to homeschool without stress. It's a collaboration hosted by Ingrid at the Ingrid Chronicles. I'll link her channel, and on her channel, on this version, there'll be a playlist for everybody else's, and I'll try and get the playlist in the comments as well. And this is this is a good day to be filming something like this. I'm 5 weeks pregnant, and I'm fighting a water infection as well, and I've got a lot of worry on at the minute, and I'm so tired. I've had to accept we won't be doing a lot of sit down homeschool today. I have tried. So I'm going to look after, well, they've done the reading and we've been for a walk, but yeah, we're just going to chill out today because I'm so tired. So if I start randomly yawning, I think I'm actually yawning. Of course I'm tired, it's hard work growing a human. Right. I've made me send a little list because my brain's like spaghetti today. So 5 ways. Oh, if you're new here, my name's Victoria. I homeschool 4 children, 1 on the way. I'm from England. I can't think of anything else to say about myself. So number 1, 5 ways to homeschool without stress. First off, it's pointless me saying homeschool without stress. There will be days you will stress. There will be things that stress you out. Let's not paint a picture that that's never going to happen. It is going to happen, and that is normal, and it doesn't mean you're rubbish at homeschooling. It doesn't mean you should stop homeschooling. No matter what you do in life, there'll be days where you can't handle it, or you just think, doesn't mean you're not on the right path. Okay, you're human. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to have rough days. So don't think, you know, the first sign of a rough day, when all the naysayers are going, oh, I told you shouldn't do this. Don't give up. Well, here are a few tips to stop you going over the edge every single day. So number 1 is let go of perfection. It's not going to always be perfect. You are not a robot, you're not a machine. I mean, look at me today, I'm really tired. I've just got to accept that it's not going to happen today. You know? So let go of perfection. Nobody's life is perfection. Nobody is perfect. So just get rid of this idea in your head. You've got to be perfect every single day, running on full cylinders every single day. We've got to do every single thing every single week. Let go of that. Number 2, don't compare. Don't compare yourself or your children to other people, them that are in school and them that are also homeschooling. It's like some of these YouTube channels where everything looks perfect and the house is immaculate and they're all getting everything done, everybody's so happy. A lot of it is nonsense. Or nobody's going to film themselves on a really, really bad day, are they? You know, you're looking at the highlights. You're not looking at, you know, the day-to-day drudge. And I'm not going to say the names because I'm not calling them, but there are 2 YouTubers off the top of my head straight away that homeschool large families. Everything looks perfect, the mother looks immaculate, the house looks immaculate, everybody's so happy, we're managing so well. Both of them, their husbands are at home, and both of them, their husbands are willing to help out. We haven't all got that. My husband works nights, he's asleep during the day, he's at work at night. I'm on my own most of the time. So it'd be pointless me comparing myself to a woman with money and a husband that's home all the time, who's like a male Mary Poppins. It'd be pointless me comparing myself to that. It's a completely different situation. So don't compare yourself to other people. And also, I know that these happy clappy videos, they've not filmed the washing machine leaks all over the place and completely ruins the floor, and the toddler's chucked herself on the floor, and the other 2 are fighting, and the mother hasn't had time to shape her legs in 3 weeks or whatever. They're not going to film that. Same as if you look at you know, other people on these homeschool groups, 9 times out of 10, they post a photo, a nice happy photo of something that's happened. Like, here I am with Tarquin on a winter walk, talking about the wild birds and the squirrels, and it all looks very picturesque. She didn't tell you that 2 minutes before Tarquin had a massive fit about something and told her he hated her or something like that. So don't compare yourself to others. It's all nonsense. The next one is, let go of the idea of you know, where your kids should be with education, like your kid's so behind, or your kid's so ahead, or your kid's so... National curriculum is made up. It's made up by people who want to monitor the schools. If you're homeschooling, you're, especially in England, where, you know, you're not monitored quite so much, you've chosen a freer way of being for your kid, for them to do it at their own pace, to learn at their own pace, unpressured. So just get rid of any thinking that you think, oh, they're way behind in this, or they're way ahead in that, or whatever. They're not behind or ahead. They're exactly where they need to be. It's your child or their education journey. It doesn't matter about where other people say they ought to be in whatever. One of my children struggles with reading and writing. If he was in a school setting, they'd be saying he's way behind. But he can cook up a storm. This kid we know, before COVID, this kid we know who's friends with our kids goes to school. So sometimes, even though we have to have a word with him, because it's not very nice sometimes, but not on purpose, it's because we're doing something different to what he knows, he can't help but compare sometimes. And he'll say, like, to my child, the one that struggles with reading and writing, like, can't believe you can't do this yet, can't believe you don't do that yet. But then my child will say, like, yeah, but I can cook this, this and this and this, can you? And their friend will say, yeah, but I'm not supposed to learn that yet, that's something you learn later in life. That's what he said. And why? Why do you have to learn that later in life? Why can't you learn that now if that's what he's good at and that's what he wants to learn now? Do you know what I mean? If you're homeschooling, you're free of that kind of comparison, so don't do it to yourself. You're there to assist and facilitate and help as much as you can. But they're going to get different things quicker than other things, and that's just normal. There are some subjects now, I'm in my 30s, I'm not going to get them. But there are other subjects I'm like, in. It's the same with children. Let go of that thought of, oh, they should be doing this. Let them just be. So, excuse me, pardon me. Oh, tip number 4, make what you're doing sustainable. I've got a friend, she won't mind me saying, but I won't say her name anyway. I've got a friend who's distance learning. Her kids are actually in mainstream education, but the schools have been shut in England again, and they're doing distance learning where the schools send the work home. She's sticking to a rigid 9 to 3 timetable where they're only allowed an hour for the dinner. And she was saying to me the other day that the kids keep moaning they're not happy with it, and she's not moaning, she's not happy with it, it's stressing her out. Her partner comes home from work and doesn't like the fact they're all stressed out, because obviously the partner's been at work all day. And I said to her, what you're doing is not sustainable. I couldn't do what you're doing. You know, it doesn't have to be like the school day. It doesn't have to be 9 to 3. But it's not just that. I mean, anything. If you're doing something that is not working, it is stressing you all out, no matter what that is, it's not sustainable. You're not going to be able to keep it up. If you're homeschooling, you're potentially going to be doing it for years and years and years and years and years. I mean, my oldest is 10 and my youngest is an embryo. So I could be doing this for another 18 years. At least. That's if I don't have any more than this one. I can't be doing stuff, not just the kids, but for me, I can't be doing stuff that stresses me out. It's not sustainable. You can't, and you can't do it. Make whatever changes you need to make to not only keep your kids sane, but keep you sane. If it's not working, play around with it, change it. You don't have to stick rigidly to something if nobody's happy. And my last one is, fifth tip. I once saw a video, what was it? Joyful Chaos, I think the channel's called. She may have changed it to Ashley something, but I've not seen it for ages. But she did this video once saying the worst parenting advice she'd ever heard was pick your battles, because nothing should be a battle with your kid. Now, the advice I'm about to give you is pick your battles. I don't think it's bad advice. I'm very headstrong, so is the husband. I come from a long line of headstrong people, and not unsurprisingly, my children are quite headstrong. Now, we do have rules, but they're along the lines of, you know, be kind to each other and listen and things like that. If 4 headstrong kids, if I was going to pick at every single thing that I wanted to, would be constantly shouting at them, or I'd be at a level of strict I don't want to be. Not that there are no rules, of course there are rules, but pick your battles. If it doesn't matter and there's something more important you need to put your foot down about, pick the thing that's more important. And this is about homeschool, but I think the same goes for marriage as well. You know, does it matter? Think about, does it matter, before you kick off about something or put your foot down about something. Or rather than making it a battle, discuss it and say, look, this is why. Da, 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 da. Or sometimes pick your battles also, as in make sure the thing that's triggering you is actually a problem. Because sometimes the things that trigger you aren't actually problems. It's something to do with you that makes you think it's a problem. For instance, we've only got one telly in our house, and I don't want any more. I don't want tellies in the bedrooms or anything like that. But when my oldest becomes a teenager, he wants a telly in his room for gaming or whatever, I won't be happy about it. But I've realised that the reason I am against tellies in other rooms is not because I've got lots and lots of reasons for it. It's because when I was little, we only had one telly in the house, like a lot of people had them. As soon as we got a second telly, we weren't all in the same room anymore. And that's when the family started to disintegrate, and my mum and dad probably would have split up anyway. But I associate it with that because that's around the time that happened. That's when my dad were off in a different room, getting up to no good. Or that's when, you know, my brother stopped playing with me because he was off on a different room, gaming or whatever. And like I say, mum and dad would have split up anyway, and my brother would have stopped playing with me anyway because he's older. But I associate it with that. So what I mean is, when you pick your battles, make sure it actually is a battle, and make sure it's worth it before you cause unnecessary stress. Does that make any sense at all? So my 5 tips are, sorry, I fold my paper now. Let go of perfection. Not going to happen. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't let go of the idea of your child should be here in this subject, and if they're not, it's a catastrophe because they're not exactly where they need to be at that age. Let go of that, whatever. Make sure what you're doing is sustainable and you can keep it up, and it's a life you want to live. It's not something where you're constantly thinking, oh no, God, it's not again. It's got to be a life you want to live. And pick your battles. And I don't care if people think that's rubbish advice, because I don't. My mum said to me the other day on a phone call, because we're in lockdown, she says, you're not getting many subscribers because you don't encourage people to subscribe. And I says, well, when I started my YouTube channel, I didn't want to be one of those people who's like, subscribe, please subscribe, hit the bell. But the thing is, if you don't, people don't. So please subscribe. I'll see you next time with a brand new video. Bye bye.